Hello everybody and welcome back to LRN. Today we are discussing Daniel Ricciardo and his comments that he will be staying at McLaren until at least the end of 2023 season. Obviously this sort of backs up what we'd heard from McLaren and Zach Brown, that he kind of stepped back on his comments that Ricciardo would be leaving, or they have mechanisms to separate that relationship if it wasn't working for all parties, and it majorly made those rumours grow about whether Ricciardo would be leaving the team at the end of the season. And they're now desperately trying to put these rumours to bed because it is, I believe, massively impacting them on a weekly basis. It's definitely preventing Ricciardo from focusing on his racing, because he's getting asked about this constantly, and I'm sure the team are as well, by the media after and before every race and during the weekend and during the press conferences. So they need to put this to bed to allow Ricciardo to focus on his racing. So Ricciardo's come out on Wednesday on Twitter, and he has said, and I quote, "There have been a lot of rumours around my future in Formula 1, but I want you to hear it from me. I'm committed to McLaren until the end of next year, and I'm not walking away from the sport. Appreciate it hasn't always been easy, but who wants easy? I'm working my ass off with the team to make improvements and get the car right and back to the front where it belongs. I still want this more than ever. See you in Le Castellet." So big words from Ricciardo there, really putting the line down that he will be staying until the end of next season with McLaren, and that he is not only that hungry to get fighting back to the front, and he wants to help McLaren get back to where they should be, the sleeping giant, back to the front of the grid fighting for race wins. And he has of course won in the McLaren before, but it is fair to say he's having still a difficult season. He's had a difficult time at McLaren on the whole. A couple of highlights for him, and especially that win in Monza, but definitely needs massive improvement. You only need to look at the Drivers' Championship difference between Ricciardo and Norris this season to see how far behind he is and what the massive jump in performance we need from him. It's not always been his fault. We've had a bit of luck, but you look at his performance in the car, he hasn't managed to get used to it as quickly as Norris has with the new, obviously the new regulations and the new, getting his driving style used to how the new cars work. So that's definitely something he's going to have to build on, but not just build on quickly. So I think the key thing here then is, does this mean, are these words coming out from Ricciardo and his team, does it really mean that he won't be leaving at the end of this season? And I am sticking by the fact that the answer to that is no. I believe he will still be leaving at the end of the year unless he can make a drastic improvement to his performances in the McLaren. Yes, it's all well and good them coming out and saying he's going to be here, you know, that there's no issues, he's fighting for the team, he wants to, you know, help them improve, and the team's backing him. That's all well and good. But the fact of the matter is, if he can't improve that car, or improve himself and the car with it, they really stand to miss out on their position in the championship and a huge amount of prize money that comes with it. If he ends up being the reason that they don't finish ahead of Alpine and the others around them, you know, Haas could potentially get into the fight if they keep having good performances and their upgrades come to fruition. So McLaren could drop a couple of places by the end of the season if they don't pick things up. And we've seen they've really struggled at a couple of Grand Prix. So the ones where they're strong, they need Ricciardo up with Norris. And if that doesn't happen and he costs them their position in the championship, I do not see how they could ascertain having him at the team for another season. It will cost them way too much money if it was to happen again, and I don't think they can take that risk. They need to be fighting back at the front. If they had anyone who was close to scoring the amount of points Norris has this season, they'd be comfortably ahead of Alpine. You know, 10, 20, 30 points probably ahead of Alpine instead of bang level, which is where they are at the moment due to the really small amount of points Ricciardo has managed to garner this season. So really important few races now for Ricciardo. If he has any hope of keeping this seat, regardless of what they're coming out and saying, he needs to improve his racing. I do genuinely believe that all of this, these quotes and comments are an attempt by the team, an agreement between them and him, that the only way they're going to improve and progress is if he can have his entire focus on the racing, and that all of this conversation and rumor about whether or not he's going to be staying in Formula 1 is potentially impacting his mindset and how well he's able to perform on a weekend, because it's taking his focus. And I think that's a good move by them. If they can get the media off their backs, good for him. If that helps him improve, fantastic. I really love Daniel Ricciardo. I want him to remain in the sport. But McLaren's point of view will be money, and it will be, can we get someone better in the car and potentially cheaper? And the answer at the moment is probably yes. They've got their other drivers in the McLaren stable waiting in the wings that they want to bring into that team eventually. And if Ricciardo can't step up, that eventually may become sooner rather than later. So the other question becomes, if Ricciardo was to leave at the end of this year, where would he go? And right now, I cannot see where the opportunities lie in Formula One that he'd be open to. He doesn't come across as someone that's motivated by fighting in the midfield. So McLaren was his probably last opportunity to get to what could potentially be a title-winning team. You can't see any of the other big teams in the game really looking at Danny Ric. If anything was to happen and any of their drivers moved on, I can't see that Danny Ric's going to be at the top of the list of drivers they're going to look at anymore. So where does he go? You're probably talking down at Haas level or Williams level. And even then, they're probably more interested in promoting their youth drivers or the contract drivers like Williams have had Mercedes, so they can get the talent through and potentially save some money by doing that. So I just can't see where Ricciardo's going to get a drive. If you can think of somewhere that would be perfect for Ricciardo, that you believe is feasible, he could get a drive, maybe someone else you think might be moving on, definitely let me know down in the comments below. Do you think or agree that, this is more just to allow him to focus on his racing? Or do you think that it's true? Do you think they have decided, you know what, we're committed to each other and you're going to be here until the end of next year? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Really interesting though. Good to hear him really with the fighting talk. He wants to get McLaren back to the front, and I really hope he succeeds. I've kind of given up hope at this stage that he's going to be able to rekindle the kind of form that had everyone lauding him as a future world champion at Red Bull. I hope I'm wrong. We'll find out over the rest of the season, and maybe during the sort of silly contract season, we'll find out for sure whether he's staying or not. That's where it's been announced the last couple of times, like when he was going for running McLaren. So we'll see how that plays out. But anyway, guys, as I say, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you are new around here, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. We have loads of videos going up every week, so make sure you're subscribed and hit that bell icon to be notified of all future uploads. And make sure to hit a like on the video if you did enjoy it. Otherwise, I'm going to just thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day. Goodbye.